Welcome, Zen Madman here. Hand of the day number 4 and 5. We're going to do a double because I took yesterday off. Let's get into it. 9-8 of clubs in the big blind. The button raises to 2.5x. Perfect for using our tool. That doesn't sound right. For using GTO Base to review the hands, I go to their preferred sizing of 22. 9-8 suited, I believe, is a mix, and the button's going to call, and I flop king 6-5 with 2 diamonds, no clubs, but I do have the gutter butter, right? A gut shot to the nut shot. So a 7, that's not the diamond, would give me the nuts. I think on this board, I'm going to have a lot of King X, as I'm 3-betting hands like King 10 suited plus, and some offsuit combos of like King Queen, maybe King Jack and King 10. So I like my range on this board. I think I can bet pretty frequently because it's a little wet. There's a straight draw, there's a flush draw. I'm going to use half pot sizing for better or for worse. And my opponent just folds, so we're not really talking so much about what actually happened in this hand. I'm curious whether my pre-flop and flop assertions are correct, but more importantly, if I turn a 7, do I go for the check raise or even a check call, or do I keep betting, right? I think the 7 is generally favorable for their range, therefore I should go ahead and check the turn if I turn the nuts. This is kind of a callback to hand of the day, I believe it was number 1, where I turn the nuts with a straight, I hit a gut shot and I went and just like bet it, right? So I want to see whether I've learned something from that is transferable here. This is a different situation, so maybe it's completely different. I don't know, we'll see. Let's check it out. Here we are in GTO Base. This is, I'm not sure why it's showing this, but we go to 6 max cash on the left, view, and we're going to just go ahead, click through the action. It folded to the button, so we can just go here, click button, bet 250. It marks everybody else's folding, and then we go straight to the big blind. Actually, let's hit small blind fold, so we look at our range. 9-8 suited, yes, this is a mix, right? It's actually more 3 bets than calls, but you can do either. You can either use exploitative factors or randomization to choose. All right, so here we are. We're looking at what they're supposed to do, right? So we're just going to have them call, but we'll see this yellow part. We can actually click over there, the C11, right? This is color coded. Yellow is call, blue is raise, re-raise, or really 4-bet here, and red is fold. So if we highlight yellow, these are the hands they're going to get to the flop with, right? So they have some King X, yes, right? A decent amount. And they've got some of these suited connectors that hit this board. So they're gonna enjoy this board as well. And I'm gonna have them call. And then the flop is gonna come out. It was king, what I have 9-8, and I had a gutter. So it was like 6-5. The king was not this suit. It was like a club or something, right? Oh, I had clubs and it was a heart, whatever. The point is it wasn't of mine. I think I had hearts. Who cares? So here, now we're gonna look at, this is just looking in the check. We're gonna unhighlight that. So this is my overall strategy, right? So you can see everything kind of mixes. The easiest way to conceptualize this strategy is look in the lower right-hand corner where it shows check 38.7% of the time, bet 750 blinds, which is a third pot, 45% of the time. Then we can use a half pot and 3/4 pot, 9 and 17% of the time respectively. Therefore, we can look at this and say, okay, I should probably mostly be betting third pot, and I should be doing some checking. I could be going half pot and then doing a little more checking. That's probably fine too. We hover over 9-8. 9-8 likes the smaller sizing, so I went a little bit on the bigger side. Pre-flop, good. Flop, wrong bet sizing, but not a disaster. And just a note on the bet sizing, it probably doesn't love the larger sizing because the other player also likes this flop, right? We can actually check out my assertion about like the King X. You can see how many King X I have here, but we can click this little like 2 people icon here, and that's going to show how often I think each of us have, top pair. I've got 17% of the, oh no, this is them on the left. So they have 17% of their range is top pair. Almost 20% of my range is top pair. So I have more top pair in my range. Plus I have those over pairs, which are the 6 combos of pocket aces. And then 2 pair is pretty similar. They have a little bit more sets. So they have a little bit more nuttiness, right? More of the very strong hands. But for that second tier of value, top pair or better, I'm doing a little better. And then under pairs also I do better, right? But I have more just like total nothing. And I think this is a very good way for you to kind of conceptualize how ranges hit boards, right? I think this is a very good tool we're going to look into more later. Let's not get hung up on it. We'll go back to this. I had 9-8, right? And I bet we're going to go with the large sizing and say that they call, which isn't what happened. That's fine. And then let's say the turn, we just bank it right with just, not adding a flush or anything. And we hit OK. And I was thinking I might check this hand a lot, and it's mixing, right? So we can check, we can bet. If we bet half pot. And if we check, are we going to check raise? Let's go ahead and see. If I check, so on the lower right-hand corner, this is where I play through it. I hit check, and we see what they do. They're mostly going to be betting kind of half pot or even smaller. So if they bet half pot, I think I'm going to check jam now, but I might check call. No, pure check call. That was kind of like my original thought, and I should have stuck with that. Bottom straight, look at this, 4-3 suited. If I have that under, which I'm not 3-betting 4-3 very much, but if I did, I'm actually supposed to check raise all in with that hand. Whereas 9-8 suited, that's not as vulnerable. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the next hand. 7-8 of hearts on the button. It folds to the cutoff, who's going to raise to 2.5 blinds. I'm going to 3-bet. I think I can flat this hand. Maybe I can fold it some, and I'm certainly able to 3-bet it some. So I might get the full Neapolitan, the chocolate, the strawberry, and the vanilla of the raise, the call, and the fold. But I decide to do this. Now, looking at the big blind, maybe I should have flatted. I think it plays pretty well for a flat with a big blind, who I've got some notes is kind of on the loose passive, but then pretty aggressive post flop side. All right, but they call. They just take 3-bet to the face. They're like $15, sign me up. The cutoff wants to play too, and we catch an okay kind of flop of the nuts. They're very vulnerable nuts though. They're not wearing a cup. Okay, it checks to me. I'm definitely gonna bet these nuts, right? I think I want to go on the larger sizing. I do want to get action, so I bet half pot. I think, I don't really know what the solver wants here. Maybe smaller bet sizes in general, but on a board this wet, maybe bigger bet sizes. A lot of checking. I'm gonna be checking tons of hands on this board because I'd say it kind of smashes my opponent's range and doesn't hit me too hard. So I bet and I get check raised, and then there's a fold. So this isn't a hand we're going to put in the solver, right? But I do think that this is a spot where I want to be doing a lot of calling. Yes, my nuts are vulnerable on this board, but it's fine, right? If they're doing some kind of bluffing, we want to let them keep bluffing. Sure, they should probably have some kind of a draw when they're doing this, but also we're going to be able to get the money in really good on a brick turn, so I call, and this turn is, I would call it not a brick, more like a straw. I don't know. The Three Little Pigs, and they just jam. And so, I called the flop with the intention of getting it in on any turn card. And actually, if they check to me, I think I jam this turn, right? Because they can have sets. They could have top 2 pair, maybe a hand like pocket jacks or queens. Their draws all got there, right? Diamonds got there, queen jack got there. I mean, I guess they could have 9-8 for a gut shot and a pair, and that didn't get there. But I'm gonna call anyway and kind of close my eyes. And they have tens, so they could have sets. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this hand, because this one's a little weird, right? I think a flop jam is fine, particularly exploitatively against certain types of players. This is the only turn I think I can consider folding, but I don't. And does it hold up? Pretty ugly river card coming up, brace yourselves. But fortunately, they had already gotten it in, they had a set. And so the 4 flush on board means absolutely nothing, and we win the hand. All right, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe. See you next time. Cheers.